Hello everybody and welcome back to Sagevivor Season 8. In the last episode, things went crazy and we're starting to get into the jury phase. So jury has officially begun. Everybody that gets voted out from this point on will be in jury. Friendly reminder, if you have not already, please smash that like button for me to show your support for the series and consider subscribing. It really does help out a lot. Not only helps out me, but the cast of Sagevivor and future casts of Sagevivor. The better that the series does, the more that I can turn around and reinvest into Sagevivor as a whole. Today's challenge, one of my favorites of all time, is Madion's Music Adventure, and so we always kind of play this in Sagevivor, where I give you a funky little beat, and you have to decipher each part of it. Super fun. People either love it or hate it. Very polarizing. So let's go ahead and see how everybody reacted to that.
Y'all said Survivor 8. You didn't mention Survivor Eaten, because I'm getting eaten alive.
If I feel like you're not connecting with me, that's a you problem.
Everything she says is either blunt or bitchy.
Yeah, I don't really care for them. I'll vote them out.
This season's gonna be nuts.
Welcome to Sagevivor. Welcome to Sagevivor. Welcome to the island where the heat's turned up high, where the flavors are fierce and the flames never die. You better bring your A game, your spice and your sass, cause in this kitchen jungle you're cooking to last. From sweet to sour, salty to spice, each dish a battle, each meal's a dice. The fire's raging, the stove's red hot. Who's serving up victory and who's getting caught? It's Sagevivor 8, the taste of survival, serving up the heat from breakfast to trial. You gotta outcook, outfeed, outlast, or you'll be the next dish burning up way too fast.
Oh my god, Sagevivor, we have so much to catch up on. But first, let's pour one out for my mother, my sister, Queen Katie. I'm just gonna empty this bottle. And by pour one out, I obviously mean pour one into a glass of wine, because Katie's a tier 2 sommelier and she would not support wasting wine. I was going to say good wine, and then I remembered that I spent like $6 on this. Please ignore my overgrown nails. I hope y'all have not been judging me on this journey. It was a really cute manicure here I got done for a wedding, and then like I just didn't want to go do the gel removal, and like the other hand's chipped as fuck, and like they're like basically falling off soon anyway, so I've just been like hanging on to them. Oh yeah, you can see how like this one's like totally fucked. But, like, this one's great. It was, like, a design to match the tuxedo I had for a wedding. It looked fabulous. Anyway. Fucking Katie. I'm, like, pissed. I was really upset yesterday. Katie is a wonderful, lovely player and, wonderful, I was getting ahead of my thoughts. A wonderful, lovely person and a fantastic fucking org player. To me, she appeared like she was a social powerhouse. She has a good strategic head on her shoulders. I think she's willing to be cutthroat when necessary, despite her, like, sweetheart demeanor. Everyone cast Katie in your orgs and rig the season for her to thrive, because she shouldn't even need the rigging, because she is charming, lovely, funny, adorable, wonderful. I'm like devastated. I'm devastated for my game. I'm devastated for Katie. There is no world that exists that Katie did not deserve to make jury in this game, and it's actually kind of fucked. Like, I'm actually kind of mad about it.
Hey, Sagevivor, what's up? It's Kate here. I do have AC again, so I'm not sweaty, gross, and stinky. I am showered, clean, and not stinky. So go ahead and jot that down. Anyway, on Chewy's way out, like in the middle of tribal council, he did spill some tea to me that Sarah and Jules are basically like each other's number ones, and that I am not like included in their long-term plans, which is fine because they weren't necessarily included in my long-term plans. It's just where I've sort of had to go. So with the last challenge, I was an auction or anti-auction, whatever. I lost 2 votes. Well, for the Chewy vote, I only told like my alliance members that I only lost my vote for 1 tribal. That was a fucking lie. I lost my vote for 2 tribals. We'll see what lie I'm gonna come up with after tribal to like hopefully make all of my alliance members trust me again. But I'm sort of like, I have positioned myself perfectly in the middle right now. I started talking to Rob a lot more. I found out that like voice chat is his bread and butter. He loves it. So even though I don't, I've just been saying like fuck it essentially, and we only talk in like audio message, which is great because then like he can't go and copy and paste what I'm saying, and it's smart on his end because he's probably thinking the same thing, because Rob and I are very similar. We are both manipulative and we know it, but we deny it. So yeah, I am also still working with Sarah, Jules, and Exie. Sarah, Exie, and Jules, they don't know how close I am to Rob. They are under the impression that I'm just like keeping Rob at arm's length, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Something's happening because I have a bunch of people messaging me all at once right now.
Alright, so shit went kind of crazy after the last tribal. Everyone's all over the place. Rob's all in his feelings. Jason was on a like witch hunt trying to work out who voted where. Jacob was just like, good move. I had to talk Swan off a ledge a little bit. He was told there was a 7-person alliance made and that he's next, blah, blah, blah. But that's sort of all past now. I'm concerned about Exie because he just won another immunity. He's left me on red today, has not answered to anything. And then I'm finding out that he's immediately VCing with Kate and with Sarah, and he has not talked to me at all today. So, like, I am not high on his priority list. And I knew that because, like, I'm with him by association. It's through his connection with Sarah and his connection with Kate. But it's just like, dude, like, you do need me as well because I'm going to fucking come for him. And he's just putting a bigger and bigger target on himself. But it's just, yeah, I clearly just don't matter to him. And I don't plan on getting rid of him anytime soon, but I just, yeah, I'm going to have to come for him eventually. I'm going to snatch his wig.
Especially over, like, Caden and Apple. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we were supposed to get rid of Caden or Apple and have one of them be the last pre-juror, and instead we gave Katie that fate. No, I'm sorry, that's fucking fucked. Katie, if you watch this, I hope you know that, like, everything personal we had to talk about was so incredibly genuine. I'm sad that it was one of our last conversations, but our last conversation that we had about Stephen Schwartz and your experience at the Thespian Festival was really beautiful and important to me, and I meant every fucking word of what we said there, and I know you did too, and it was all entirely non-game stuff. But that's the relationships I really cherish in these games, is like the ones where we can work together, but also like really bond and connect on a human level, because that's what I'm here for, besides just being like a competitive little bitch. And also depression. I'm glad we got to have that talk. It was really special and important to me, and I'm really devastated that that was the end of your game.
Okay, what's up, chat? I'm still trying to get off the high from tribal council. So, I did not have a vote. Caden also did not have a vote. Caden had the bright idea in the middle of tribal to be like, who the fuck stole my vote? And then I question mark reacted it because I was like, okay, wait, hold on. That's actually really smart. I can do something with that. So, anyway, Katie ended up going home. Immediately right after tribal, I had a Jason messaged me and said, wow, good job. And I had to play dumb. I was like, what do you mean? I got this I got this parchment that said my vote was blocked. I said, but I voted Apple, not Katie. I had no idea that that vote was going to happen.
Hey, Sagevivor. Hello. We've had a break day because Rob had some just awful things happening to him that no one should have happening to them. And Rob, when you watch this later, I absolutely didn't know that's what the break day vote was for until after. So I really do apologize. Had I known when I read it that that's what it was for, obviously I would have voted for and did vote for a break day. Anyway, I didn't realize when the break day was over, basically we had about 2-3 hours left to get the vote in. So it was like, it picked up and it was like, oh, for some reason I thought the votes were due tomorrow. So this is a quick video. Before the break day, we had talked about blindsiding Sarah because Sarah was Eggsy's right-hand man in this sort of, new Eggsy power play move. And we thought it would be a good way to weaken Eggsy since Eggsy's immune.
I had asked Caden, I said, in a voice memo, I said, hey, I made this fake parchment that says my vote was blocked. Do you want me to send it to you as well so that we're all like on the same page? And so anyway, Caden and I are pretty fucking locked in now. I don't think we really have a choice. He told me he has a vote his vote back after this tribal. So he's good and I'm good. I'll have a vote, which is awesome for me. I'm sure that Sarah and Jules are still probably a little bit suspect, but I don't think that they're suspect of me, if that makes sense. I feel like they're more suspect of like Liv or Exy. And don't get me wrong, I love Exy. I think Exy is a wonderful player, and I know he will have to be voted out probably sooner rather than later. But my plan is I either want to target I don't know. I kind of want to target like Jason or Rob next, but part of me also wants to target Sarah or Jules. I kind of already started planting seeds with Rob to get out Jules. So I don't know. Either way, I made the jury, bitch.
Eggsy was pushing Swan, which many of us, myself, Rob, Kate, were not down for. So that was the plan going into the break. Coming back from the break, Rob apparently had a good chat with Eggsy about how Sarah and Jules are sort of sitting in the middle watching all the groups fight, watching like Rob and Eggsy fight, me and Apple fight, and they're just kind of sitting back waiting for us all to destroy each other so they can swoop in and sort of take the middle, which is mostly true. But apparently that worked, and Eggsy now thinks it's Eggsy's idea that Jules or Sarah go, but Eggsy would prefer Jules to go so that he's not handing an idol to Rob with Sarah leaving. Obviously, I would prefer Sarah leaving. I would prefer Rob having an idol. But if this makes Exy think that we're all back in the palm of his hand and that this is a really simple vote that we can all sort of get behind, then let's do that and live to fight another day and blindside Exy and Sarah later. I mean, Sarah's going to get blindsided this time anyway.
All right, this is a mess of a vote. There's so much going on. There's a lot of debate over what to do. It was originally on Swan. I was after gun ho on Swan for the longest time, and then I had a talk with Rob, and we talked about maybe taking a shot at Jules' group instead. That was a huge ass debate though, because I don't want to do Jules or Sarah. Really, I only want to do Kate, and Rob doesn't want to do that. Neither does Jason or Jacob, for that matter. So it's a mess, and I don't know what the fucking votes are. I don't really trust anyone what they say. The only people I trust are Jules, Sarah, and Liv, and that's only 4 votes. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know what to do here. Do I just give my idol to Jules? Because, I mean, if she's going out anyway, then who the fuck cares, right? So it's a mess. It's a mess, and I don't know where people are going, and I'm just hoping enough. If I just say the word Kate over and over, then it will happen, yes? That's how the mafia works.
Sarah and Jules seem to think it's going to be Kaden, and I have sort of led that charge. So we'll find out here in a couple hours. But also, I don't think I'm going to use my extra vote. I think I will have made my goal of making it through 3 votes, not having my vote, not using my extra vote, and not having to use my idol. We'll see. This could all blow up in my face. It could be me tonight. It could be a 1 vote difference where I should have used it. But as of the time of me filming this, I'm not voting and I'm not using my extra vote or my idol.
Hey, what's up, Sagevivor? It's Kate here. This has been a very eventful few days. So, who got voted out? Oh, Katie got blindsided. Only Sarah, Jules, Exy, and maybe Liv voted for Katie. I genuinely don't know. So, I did not have a vote. Kaden also didn't have a vote. And Kaden had a brilliant idea that during the tribal, he would say, "What the hell? Who stole my vote?" And then I followed up and replied with question marks. And then we were, quote, being disrespectful. First of all, we weren't. We were being smart. So anyway, immediately after tribal, I made this fake parchment saying that my vote had been blocked and to return to my seat or whatever the hell it said. And so I sent Kaden a voice memo and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you're getting questioned just as much as I am right now, but I made this just in case." And I'm sending it to people. I said I also didn't have a vote.
It's a new day. Woke up refreshed. My number 1 got blindsided last night, and Rob's revenge tour is in full effect. My takeaway from all of this is that Exy is just threatened by me, and he thinks that I'm this big threat. And I'm like, you can keep calling me a big threat because it's just going to make me a shield and make people not want to vote me out.
Playing the middle is hard. I don't like it. I just feel like I have to burn everyone, and it feels so untenable because I'm such a massive target. The massive targets can't play the middle. It's like a rule. I can't burn everyone. Then they'll just have a reason to vote me off, and I will absolutely get voted off with enough people mad at me that I broke their trust. So it's not something that I can sustain, but it's so hard because I'm being pulled in 3 different directions at once, and it's like, how do I rectify that? It's difficult. The only person that I'm not working with is Swan. So I want Swan to go. And my plan has been very out in the open. I'm just yelling, "Vote Swan" today. I know Rob and Sarah have this other plan going where they're trying to vote Kaden, and Sarah thinks it's going to happen, and Rob definitely thinks it's going to happen. But it's not. I have Jason and Jacob voting Swan. Swan actually is going home, but he doesn't need to think that. If he thinks there's a way he's going to get out of it, then great. Though poor Sarah going to lose an ally, La Mont. That's going to become a problem for next vote, because next vote, like, Jacob is really against Sarah, and I guess I should have seen that coming because Sarah wanted to do Jacob earlier. But I'm not voting Sarah, so I maybe next vote I want to do Kate, because Kate has kind of self-imploded. She used to tell me a lot of information. I used to think I had a relationship with her, but she's recently decided that she no longer wants to work with me, or she doesn't trust me, or whatever the heck. So, okay, bye. I guess you want to be annoying about it.
So, I made up like this whole plan because I knew that I was going to have to turn on the Sarah, Jules, and Exy like alliance eventually, and I was like, you know what? I made jury, and that was my main goal. So like from here, I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
As far as everyone else, I'm literally working with everyone. I have a relationship with Sarah. I don't really have one with Jules directly. I kind of just steal her relationship through Sarah. I'm working with Apple pretty closely, not as much with Kaden, but it's there. Again, it's kind of through Apple, but Apple and Kaden aren't even that close. Liv is kind of just in a corner by herself. I think she's like my sheep.
Go off, Queen. However, you making such a big move at final 12 before even the jury starts is just, I'm gonna paint a target on myself. La, 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 la. Like, you think you're really smart, but you're honestly kind of dumb. It's because like this game, yes, is about big moves, but it's also about timing. And that was not the time to do something like that. Because either everyone is either just pissed off that you betrayed them and lied to them, or they are just letting you take credit for it. So the target's on you and not them. So you're an idiot. You're not gonna get to the end, and that's on period. Jason's livid. Swan's livid. Jacob seems livid. Kate seems livid too, because she kind of feels like she was left out. So I think, and I talked to Kate today, and I was like, girl, the perception is I think that you are in a trio with Jules and Sarah, but my perspective of that trio is that you're on the bottom. And she's like, oh no, girl, I know I'm on the bottom of that trio, and they would sacrifice me if they needed to. I'm like, just like they did Chewie. I'm like, so I'm still talking with Apple. I mean, obviously Apple is a little shit. I know Apple and I love Apple, but he's a little shit. He's going to do what Apple wants to do. But however, I think that it's still good that Apple and I are on opposite sides, because like we can work together when we need to. But it's also okay if we're not always working together, and that's fine by me. As long as I'm still alive, I really don't care, because I can socially maneuver if I need to. And I lost my number one, but I still can get another number one. I mean, Jason considers me his number one. Swan considers me his number one now, after Jules betrayed him, and Katie was his number two, and I was his number three. So now I bumped up to number one. I'm pretty sure Jacob still really trusts me too. I think he has a side thing going on with Kaden, but I'm aware of it. And also, Liv and Exy, Apple had warned me we're a duo, and I was like, okay, noted. This has confirmed it for me. So Liv, if you want to try to be Exy's little pawn, go for it. I'm still willing to work with anyone and anyone at all, anything. And I'm not dead in the water. Apple told me last night that he thinks that me being blindsided here actually, because I was like ranting to him, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be making the end now. He's like, actually, I think this is probably increasing your chances of making the end now, because now you are not the number one threat going into final 11. And I was like, It's kind of tea, actually. So there's still lots of game to be played. It's not over for me. I love personally playing on the bottom. I think it's more fun. I hate being in like the ultimate power position because everyone just like thinks, oh, Rob's running the show, and I'm just like. But if I'm on the bottom, they can't really be saying that about me. But they can still say that I'm like a social threat, and that's fine. But the game's not over, and King Rob's gonna get his crown, baby. XOXO.
And if we get through this, boy oh boy, will that be good for me to have all that hardware still. Plus Jacob has his extra vote. Rob will just need to get Sarah out and we'll get him an idol. It'd be good. It'd be really good. Stay tuned.
And Jacob's over here. I'm working pretty closely with Jacob. And then Jason and Rob, I used to have relationships with. I think Jason's trying to rebuild a little bit. I might be able to claw that one back. Rob's just in this awkward spot where I don't know I don't know really, but I guess when I put it like that, it doesn't sound like my bonds are all that strong, but they're pretty damn universally applied, and I think I have a lot going for me, which is cool and all.
Yeah, I asked for the challenge extension. Just like mentally not here. People are messaging me about voting an X, Y, and Z person, and I'm just like, I don't care right now. And XZ said that he would vote for the extension, and I sent him like a crying video, and I don't know, it just means a lot, but also he probably is making fun of me in his confessionals or something like that. I don't know, but I don't really care. I just hope they vote for the extension. I really don't want to have to deal with it, because then like I know every drop's been fucking mentally exhausting already, and I just don't have the mental capacity to do this right now. And I hope they respect my request, but if they don't, then whatever. But we'll see.
Well, I do wish that we would keep going just because I didn't necessarily want a break. I think that we were having something going well, and this could break momentum, give enough time for people to leak in DMs, even though we're not supposed to DM. But I am honestly really glad that Rob is getting a day to process everything that's going on with the domestic violence dispute and getting shot at. But for right now, I guess I just get to chill for a little while and gotta hope that nobody leaks anything and this plan still continues to work.
So yeah, it's Jacob versus Sarah that I'm concerned about, because I'm really close with Jacob and I'm really close with Sarah, and they're mutually exclusive positions, and I don't think I can dance around that for that long. Like if Jacob could have, he would have voted Sarah right now, like literally right now. He would do it right now. But I had to tell him like, no, we're not doing that. Wait, just hold off.
But basically, Rob and Jason and, well, to a much lesser extent, Swan, have been working pretty well as allies, but they've just been getting more and more paranoid. And to the point where I think Rob kind of just needs to be cut off from the decision making. I don't mind working with him anymore or still, but I think that he really needs to take a step back and look at where his position is in the game, because he's in a really bad position of being a pretty big target in the game because of his social game, but it seems like no strategy going on after he lost, or actually even before we lost the majority, to the point where he seems set on creating a situation where he's almost pagonging himself, so that he ends up as the last person. I have reached out to Xe, and we have kind of come up with an idea, mostly me, but Xe seemed on board. He still seems to think that we're going to vote Swan. I'm going to try my best not to do that, because Swan still has some utility to me.
And it'll be really funny when Swan goes home, because it doesn't. The plan looks so fake, right? I mean, I've just been yelling "Vote Swan" to everybody. Easy 9-1 vote. But I mean, obviously that's not going to happen. Sarah's doing something, and Sarah and Jules are going to vote for Kaden here.
Sarah is a threat and not necessarily a shield for specifically my type of gameplay, but Exy is on board for creating a sub-alliance of me, him, Apple, Kaden, Liv, and possibly Kate. We need to see where that goes this vote. But basically, we want to side with one side of the vote, whether that's joining with Sarah and Jules for the Swan vote, or whether it's siding with Rob and Jason and Swan to vote out Sarah. Personally, I'd much rather it be Sarah, just because she is a bigger threat. And like I said before, she just doesn't have any utility. She's just someone that I can't really get a connection game-wise going to. If we were on the same tribe starting out, hell yeah, I'd work with Sarah. We both click pretty well on personal level. Both have similar hobbies with plants and everything, but the way it's worked out, I just don't think that we can come out of the hole that we've made strategically with each other. And so I think it's going to be me or her at some point.
I literally got blindsided by my number 1 and my number 2, which is insane behavior. And they can claim that it's because I was at work all they fucking want. But it was a slow ass day and I was able to check my phone and I did not have one DM update. Like they had plenty of opportunity to tell me, even if it's like, hey Swan, I know you're at work, but if you check your phone, I don't want you to be shocked about tribal results, blah, 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 blah. No. They knew how fucking close I was to Katie. They knew what they were doing. I was intentionally left out of it. And I'm sorry, but that's fucking fucked.
So, I had I didn't know exactly who I was going to, push for. But I was also, I had told everybody else in the game that, I had voted for Apple, but my vote had been blocked. As we just established, I did not have a vote, but whatever. So, come to find out, Exy had told, Rob, Jason, Jacob, and I think that's it. Oh, and Swan, that Exy had given all of them names of every single person that was supposed to vote Katie, and they included that in my name. Or they included my name, in that conversation.
This is Sagevivor episode 10. I am doing this early this time. Usually I do it right after, challenge results, before tribal. But today, and let me backtrack. I usually do all of my shit the night before. Always. Because I do have a life. I know that I am retired and I kind of make my own schedule, but I do have a schedule. And when things don't go according to my schedule or when things get upended, I feel like I'm almost in a crisis mode because I work really hard to create this structure for myself. Because I know personally I have to feel productive in order to feel like I belong on this earth. I guess that's the good thing. I learned that during my last relapse. I have to do something, which is why I couldn't stay in retirement, right? Because the farm was not enough, started selling plants. Okay, so I should have done this challenge last night. This morning, I opened it up. I asked production, one question. I opened it and I started listening to it. And then, personal life stuff, ape shit everywhere. And I was like, holy fuck. And I made, 2 notes. I was like, 8's not in it. There might be 35, 22 definitely. I had a little star. And I took a picture of it and I went and did all my shit and I was on mobile all day and I was trying to brute force this fucking challenge and whatever. And then finally when things started stabilizing, I sat down, I listened to it again, and I was like, okay, these are definitely in there. So I only have the 2 numbers. I see that I've already done a bunch of fucking brute forces, so I was able to kind of whatever. And then I got it pretty quickly, which was really upsetting. Not really upsetting. Just feel like it's a little chaotic. I really like music. I think that this could have been my challenge, but you know what? It's probably good that my time will be so shit, because maybe this will make my target a little less. But I am doing this early too because I don't know if my life will be upended tomorrow. And also, shit happened. A lot of shit. And I haven't had a chance to literally sit here and even put my thoughts into my confessional. So I need to have something so when things are super stable, I can like watch this and I can write my notes. So we had this plan to go after Katie. And by we, I do mean Exy. He is the main crack that was in OG Salad, him and Apple, but Apple is no longer viewed as OG Salad, correct? Correct.
I don't even know what's happening on this tribe. I'm just like, I just say yes to everything. Everything and anything. I don't know if that's getting found out or what people think of me or if people are even thinking of me. There's just so many different plans going on. So many switch ups from like the original thing. I don't know. I think the break got people like thinking about what the actual best thing to do is. Like the bigger threats, like Rob and Eggsy, they're already doing stuff. Eggsy and Rob are already talking about switching it to like Jules or Kate, which like why, you know, Rob, which like it's better for Rob to keep Sarah and Eggsy in. And I told him that. I told him it's better to do that because they're the biggest threats in the game. They should try to keep each other in. I also told Eggsy that, and he agrees with that as well. I don't know why Eggsy's even like agreeing to do Jules or Kate with Rob. I don't even know why he's agreeing to do that. All that's going to do is piss off Sarah more. And then Sarah's obviously going to find out about the plan to vote for her and how it switched. That's going to screw me over.
So, Exy, me, Liv, Kate, Kaden, Jules, Apple, we were all on this, right? But there is a core of me, Exy, Liv, and Jules. 2 OG Salad, 2 OG Hamburgers. Obviously, I'm a duo with Jules. I have kind of this relationship with Exy, but kind of like gotta keep him closer rather than away. But I do think, because I did confront him about his little org legend comments about me to Kate in a joking way. He was like, well, you know, to be fair, like, you know, I said it about a lot of the cast. And I was like, well, you know, I watched Sarah and she's really good. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're doing. And he was like, you caught me. It's like, like, I know what he's doing. And it's literally after last night's move, he messaged me and he was like, so how does it feel to finally work with me? And I was like, I hate you. I was like, you know what? It was chaotic. It was very fun. I am enjoying this Mod Podge alliance with Exy and Liv. Exy is very fun. So glad he made it to the merge. This is the first time I've ever really gotten to work with him. And he has now put a giant target on himself. I have been spreading his name everywhere, as has Jules. And I mean, we talked about this. Like, we know what's going on. Apparently, there's also a perception that there's just giant 7-person alliance that I might have spread just a little bit. I wanted to see them shit themselves. But there's not a giant alliance. This is just a little block.
I immediately get on voice chat and ask Exy, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can blow up your own game all you want, but like, you and I are supposed to be allies. You told me I was your number one, vice versa. And what you did put me in a really shitty fucking spot. Because now nobody trusts me and I don't trust, like, I can't trust you. I can't trust Sarah. I can't trust anybody over there because you guys keep throwing me under the bus. So, of course, Exy ends up being immune. he wins the challenge, and it's like, okay, I gotta pivot. So I get to talking with Rob, and I know that Rob has a shared amulet with Sarah, which, mind you, listen, so I'm in my own, like, little world pretty much all the time. So I thought that it was Sarah, Katie, and Jacob that had a shared amulet, but it's not. It's actually Sarah and Rob and Katie, but Katie's now out of the game. So Rob and Sarah now have the shared amulet, and I told Rob, I was like, look, I'm telling you now that Sarah went after Katie. She's going to go for you soon. I said right now, she's just sort of keeping you around so that in hopes that, like, people will sort of, like, forget about that amulet. So I told Rob, I said, one, if we go for Sarah, like, it needs to be before she goes for you. And Rob seemed kind of skeptical, so I just sort of, like, dropped it. And then I woke up to a message from Jacob telling me that the names that he was hearing were Swan, his name, Sarah, and Jules. Well, I don't really have much of a relationship with Jacob, so I didn't necessarily trust that it was Sarah and Jules' name that was actually out there. So it was like first thing in the morning, I'm getting ready for work. I send Sarah a message, and I was like, hey, are you hearing my name? Because Jacob told me that my name's going around. And so that was like the start of my strategy to, like, get Sarah out, essentially.
And, you know, there's this core of us that are working together now. And I think that we might be able to do some damage. The problem is we just don't have a lot of advantages. We just have the idol shards. And for some god fucking reason, I did tell Exie that Jules had 2 idol shards a while ago. I think I did it in the middle of the night, and I just did not fucking remember. Because he was like, well, you know, her shards. And I was like, wait, how do you know about her shards? He was like, well, you told me. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, God damn it, I didn't mean to do that. I shouldn't have done that. That was terrible. Outward facing, he pretends he only knows about the one from, you know, the hotel or whatever, not the other one. But that's really all we have. We have enough shards to do an idol if needed. We have my amulet piece, or I guess half of an amulet that I am sharing with Rob. Rob went all depressy last night. I'm not really sure if it was real or not. I don't know. Like, he was really pissed off at Apple, apparently, but to me, he was kind of like, woe is me, whatever. I also was kind of toying with him last night, and I got a big kick out of it. I was on video with Exie and Jules when I was doing it.
Sarah said, no, your name's not out there at all. The only name that I'm hearing is Swan. I love Swan. I have said from day one, I'm not voting out Swan, especially, like, right now.
Oh, Sagevivor. This might be my last one of these. But I've got my funny girl mug from when I saw Leah Michelle, because they are not going to rain on my motherfucking parade. So, yeah. Sarah and Jules are sick and twisted, I guess. All this time, I was like, oh, good for them if they, like, betray me. No, not good for them. I'm actually kind of weirded out by it. Because, like, we've been close the entire game, and now I find out they're, like, throwing my name out. They wanted me out at the first tribal, apparently, which I don't care about that. That's ages ago, and, like, we bonded after that. But, like, we're literally, like, on video chats all day. They were telling me, like, I love yous and, like, goodbyes and stuff as early as, like, yesterday afternoon when we got shut down. Like, so what's going on here? Why are y'all trying to get me out? And what way does that even strategically benefit you? Gonna have some searing final words if they vote me out here.
I was having fun last night. I was on this massive high. Jules and I we were video chatting when the tribal things came down because we both felt like one of us was about to get sniped. So it was really weird. Everyone was just like, vote whoever you want, vote whoever you want. I mean, it was literally it was very weird. It was weird. But we knew what we were doing with Katie. And then, you know, that plan kind of leaked. We think it was Kate. But we don't think she was just like, well, there's this. But we think it was more like, hey, we hear that this is happening, whatever. Like, we don't know if there's, like, names attached. So I've been kind of telling people, like, I was looped in at the last minute. I was told there would be more voters, all this stuff. Axie never knew that Apple did not have a vote. Only me and Jules knew he did not have a vote. He has his vote back now. The most interesting thing, though, are the 2 block of votes. So Rob was in my DMs, and again, I don't know if this is the truth, but he was like, Katie had the block of vote from the auction. And I was like, okay, well, that implies that these 2 block of votes came from the very first challenge. And that means an OG hamburger used one and an OG salad used one. And they used them on Caden and Kate, supposedly, right? So the issue is, and I kind of brought this up to Rob because Rob was like, these are all the people who were involved in all this stuff. And I was like, okay, if that's the case, you're telling me that Swan was the one who used the block of vote? He was like, wait, no. And I was like, but you're saying that all the other OG hamburgers were voting against Katie, which is accurate, right? So why would the other ones use it on potential voters for themselves? Number one, we, meaning me, Swan, and Jules, and we kind of approached it with Exie last night, but he went to sleep. We kind of suspect that maybe these didn't really exist because I have an amulet. I don't have a graphic. The idol didn't have a graphic.
So I was like, oh, okay. Just making sure. So then I asked Exie the same thing. And Exie was like, no, I'm not hearing your name. I was like, okay, great. Then I went to Rob. Asked Rob. I was like, hey, I'm hearing that my name is out there. Is this true? Yes or no? And he was like, no, nobody else has said anything. Well, part of the reason I was like asking people this to begin with is because, one, like, I wanted to see how fast that was going to get out so that I could sort of like figure out like who exactly was connected with who. So much to my surprise, I then get a message from Jason saying, hey, I'm starting to hear your name, but I am not voting you out. I like you. I think you're funny. And I'm not voting for you. And I'm not voting for Swan. So what are our other options? And I was like, well, Jason, I'm so glad that you don't want to vote me out because I would never want to vote you out either. I said, the only name that I'm hearing is Swan.
We suspect maybe that one of them, Kate or Caden, just did not have a vote at all. And this was like their way of kind of whatever, maintaining their positioning. Don't know. Don't really care at this point. But last night, me and Jules were spiraling. And yeah, we video chatted because we thought we were going to lose. I thought I might lose her or she was going to lose me. And it was just like, you know, let me enjoy my last night if this is happening, you know. Obviously that did not happen. So I did another night with Jules. We love Jules. I love Jules. Jules is great. My concern now is that maybe we will be viewed as like right-hand people to Exie. We're trying to stay kind of separated. There seems to be a perception now that me, Jules, and Kate are a trio, which I mean is not necessarily wrong, but Kate put me as most likely to backstab her best friend and second place, and then she put Jules as first place. And me and Jules were like, wait, does she know? Like, does she know what's happening? Which also makes me suspicious that Exie might have told Kate some things about me in past games that he is aware of or that he has played with me in. But I don't have confirmation of any of that. It's just very interesting.
And Jason said, yeah, I'm not doing Swan. I said, perfect, because neither am I. I don't it's not that I don't view Swan, like, as a threat. I just feel like right now in the game, he is literally, like, a non-issue to me. And I love Swan. Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, if Swan and I are sitting final 2, he's probably gonna beat me, which is perfectly fine.
So I guess I really fucked up in my mistrust of them. Either that or like Kate and Rob and everybody's spinning like a damn good story. Either way, like trust in them is completely gone. Yeah, found out apparently Sarah's throwing my name out this round. They think I'm too close with Rob.
I don't know, but Katie is gone. Rob was very woe is me. As y'all know, I'm not a big fan of people crying. He was literally crying like a little bitch. But
even though like I've still had them at 1 and 2 like the whole time I've been with them. Obviously that's not going to be the case this round, but yeah, that is this is not good. This is not good.
Anyway, so Jason was like, well, what about Sarah? I was like, yeah, I mean, if we can get people on board to vote Sarah, I am 100% down for voting Sarah. I think that we need to weaken like the Exy Sarah Jules alliance that's like going on. I said the only issue with that is that we can't tell Exy, Jules, or Liv, because that will 1000% get back to Sarah. And if Sarah has something, she'll play something, and there's a good chance that if Jules has something, she could also play for Sarah. I think it would be dumb if she did, but that's just like my thought process behind it.
If it does come out that it was strategy, then that's cool. You know, I would be like, hell yeah, okay, cool. But regardless, it's still kind of annoying because I don't view things this way. Because me and Jules were talking about it. It's like, you know, if it were you who had gone home, me talking to Jules, I would have been pissed. Been like, fuck, you know, because Jules is a big integral part of my game. I am enjoying playing with Jules. Jules is great. And I have lost my number 1 in games before. And I burned down the fucking tribe. But not in a way that was outwardly facing. Like, I didn't go and scream at people. I didn't do any of that stuff. Instead, I went in my confessional, and that's where I ranted. But in the game, I just turned up my charm 100%, and I got close to every single person, and I created a hit list, and I got rid of every single one in fucking order. One by one of who voted out my number 1. And that's what I would have done if Jules had gone home. Rob, however, has taken this approach of allowing his emotions to kind of take over, I suppose, which may or may not benefit him or not. I don't know if he is still viewed as a threat, but they are definitely shaking just a little bit, and it's been very fun. We'll see what happens this round. I'm really not sure what is going to happen.
I'm really confused. This is when you think you know me, but you don't. Because this is when I become a bitter juror, is when people make moves that I don't understand, that I don't strategically make sense. When I've been feeding you info, I've been showing you loyalty, I've been protecting you, and you're going to vote me out first juror? Sweetheart, no, because I will poison an entire jury against you. It will be Swan DeRosa.
I think Exy might throw out Swan's name. I feel like I need to kind of protect Swan here, because Swan is now super close to Rob. I don't think Exy would let go of Jason. I would probably just let go of Caden at that point. Because Apple is close to Exy. Kate is close to Exy. So Rob, Jacob, and Jacob's close to Liv. The difference, I think, with me and Jules than some of the other members of the cast, and she and I talked about this, like, I would have preferred Katie to stay over, you know, either of the other two in the trio. I would have really liked to have just taken out Jason, honestly. Because I liked Katie. I thought Katie would have been a good in. She reminds me of someone I've played with before, and she and I did very well together. But, you know, the voters just weren't there. But, you know, me, Jules, and Katie got into a trio type chat, and we we were working, you know, like I thought that it could be a good in. But we just pivot.
Don't fuck with me. Yeah, so really genuinely confused. Actually kind of hurt. Kate had this whole spiel to me about how they've been working against me and against her and all this stuff.
Jason and I told Jason, hey, I'll talk to Apple because Apple doesn't talk to Jason. And so I think I have Apple on board. Now, this is when things start to get a little messy. So, I have finally heard from Swan. Because, like, Swan and I, we support each other from a distance, if that makes sense. We just, like, work two totally different schedules. And, like, I'm on East Coast, he's on West Coast. I'm normally, like, going to sleep when Swan is getting up and like getting ready for work and actually active, which is perfectly fine. I think whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyway, I had told Swan, I was like, look, right now it seems like the votes are coming down between you and Sarah. I said, I've been hearing my name, but with the Sarah vote, that like guarantees my safety, essentially.
I would fight against someone trying to take out Jules. But everyone else is kind of like, we'll let them loose. You know what I mean? Like, we let Katie go. But some of these people seem to not have that same mindset, that flexibility. But I also recognize that Jules and I are in a unique position where we're both pretty social players. So we can kind of weasel ourselves into places. I don't know how it's going to go after last night. I do think that me and Jules being honest to begin with about voting Katie has benefited us. I don't know if it's benefited everyone else. I know people are mad at Liv. People are really mad at Exy. I've gotten lots of voice memos and messages saying, like, don't trust Exy. He's a snake. He's really good at comps. And I'm like, whoa, tell me more. As if I don't fucking know. Like, trust me, I fucking know. But that's okay, because I recognize that, and I knew he was going to do this, right? Like, he is predictable in that way. I know how he operates, but he's never had social people on his side, not in the way that me and Jules are. So with us three, I think that we really could survive here, but we will see.
But before Kate came to me, so Jason and Jacob both like came to me with a Sarah plan, and at first I'm like, no, Sarah going is not good for me. Jason comes to me and is like, yeah, Kate's pushing hard for her, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then Jacob comes to our little alliance chat and is like, yeah, I talked to Kaden and Apple, and all of us are on board for a Sarah vote, but I'm nervous to talk to Kate about it. And I'm like, why are our stories not storying? Don't love that. So
then Swan's response was, oh no, Sarah, I like Sarah. And I said, yeah, I liked Sarah too. I said, but she is extremely dangerous to have in this game. Because with Sarah, like, she doesn't care. She will be so nice to you, like, to your face, and then just immediately, like, talk shit about you to whoever her closest ally is.
I am inclined to believe Caden probably did lose his vote. He acted the same way when he lost it last time, when Jason stole his vote. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But last night was exhilarating. I did enjoy how unique this challenge was, even though my personal life went haywire just a little bit. Everything is fine now. We are in game mode. It's gonna be good. And I was not ninth boot. Hey!
this is when I may be fucked up. But we're gonna find out. I have an hour and a half to spin this, and then I have to go to work. So this is gonna be chaotic as fuck. And a lot's gonna happen while I'm super busy, and it's really shitty that I would have been off last night and been able to deal with all of this, and then tonight not going to be here. And we couldn't DM like overnight. So that really sucks. But I am glad that we took the night off for Rob because I think he really needed it. And I'm happy to meet him on a human level and do that for him.
So I told Swan, I was like, I mean, I really liked Sarah too, but I think that she's the one that blocked my vote and has been throwing my name out because I told them that I wouldn't vote for Katie or for Swan. I said, so for me, I'm pretty much useless to them because I am not just going for her plans. And Swan was like, oh yeah, I definitely understand that. And so I had also mentioned to Swan our very first tribal. I was like, so remember when for that very first tribal that the names that were being thrown out were you and Faith? I said, Sarah and Jules wanted to vote for you, but I again told them I'm not voting for you because they viewed you as an active. I said, but because I didn't want to go vote out Swan, then they changed it to Faith.
Apple comes to me and is like, hey, I heard about the Sarah plan. I'm totally on board. And I'm like, I thought Sarah and Apple liked each other. I don't know. So that's when alarm bells start going off. And I'm like, if this is this far out, like if Apple knows about it, there's a potential that Sarah could get told about it. And if like, this is before I know that, I've heard from Kate that she's like hardcore working against me and all of that. So I go to Sarah and I'm like, I send her a voice note and I'm like, hey girl, by the way, your name's apparently out there. Jason says Kate is pushing it. Jacob came to me saying he's nervous to talk to Kate about it, but so I don't get it. I don't think they have the votes for it. They definitely don't have my vote, blah, 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 blah. This was all kind of like honest at the time. Then we had to spin a little bit because then Kate comes to me and is like, yo, they like hate your guts. I mean, she didn't say that. I don't think they hate me. I do think they genuinely like me. I just think it's their game behavior now is weird. Kate comes to me, tells me all this stuff about them working to get me out, and all this. And then I'm like, fuck. So I talk a little bit with Sarah and Jules when they both get online because both of them were like gone. Like Jules was asleep and Sarah was, I don't know what Sarah was doing. So one of two things is going to happen now that I've like leaked this information. Worst case scenario, they tell everybody I leaked it and everybody's like, fuck Swan, y'all are right, he should go home. That would be sad. That would be sad. Best case scenario is that they're like, oh shit, Swan is still feeding us info. Swan still trusts us. So let's keep Swan, target somebody like Kate, Jason, or Jacob, who's like actively working against us right now, and keep Swan as an info stream. Meanwhile, I fully do not trust them anymore, and I'm over their bullshit. So that is kind of two things that could play out. So they'll target either like I won't be the one to go home and I'll lose somebody on my side, whatever that is now, or we can effectively blindside one of Jules or Sarah because they think I'm with them and I told them. And if people are worried about Sarah knowing, we could just pivot to Jules. Or like, since I'm like, oh, Sarah, I wouldn't vote you out. Of course, we could just, she doesn't think it's going to happen. We can vote her out. So that's kind of what happened over the last like couple hours of yesterday before we shut down. So don't know what's gonna happen. I'm obviously very nervous, but if I go home, I go home. At least I went out messy. Yeah, I really hope they don't take that first option of like leaking that I leaked and throwing me under the bus in an attempt to get me out, because then I'll be bitter, because I'll be like, I literally like tried to defend you and protect you, and this was my repayment. Because when I reached out to Sarah, I was genuinely trying to like let her know. I also was like, there's a chance Apple could tell her, and I don't know, like, if they don't trust me, like, I need them to think that I trust them. So that's why I told Sarah. And yeah, so shit's kind of fucked. We'll see how this goes. Buckle up, because these next, 4 hours are about to be a chaotic nightmare.
Swan was like, oh, really? That was them? I had no idea because, and he was like, to be completely honest, Sarah, Jules, and I have been completely close this entire game. And we even had like a final 3 alliance. And I said, yeah, same here. I said, but they talk shit about you all the time. So I went up to find like messages to copy and paste to Swan. These were from like a few tribals ago when Chewie had gotten voted off, and I changed like the wording to one of the messages that said, wow, I can't believe this worked. We pulled it off, and Swan's next is what I had changed the message to. When really it said, wow, I can't believe we pulled this off. Who's next? So a little shady on my part, but it is what it is. And then we all like voted to postpone tribal for 24 hours, which I guess is like the first time that that's ever happened, which, okay, cool, I guess. But that was the very last thing on Swan's mind before, like, because we can't communicate with each other until tribal starts again. Or, like, I want to say we have, like, 3 or 4 hours before tribal. So, yeah, that's, like, the last thing on Swan's mind. And, yeah, so I feel like the votes are going to go one of 2 ways. It's either going to be me going home, Swan going home, or Sarah going home. And I feel like if word gets back to Sarah about what's going on, it's probably going to be me going home. Which, ultimately, I'm fine with. I just wanted to make jury. But anyway, my dog's being chaotic, and that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Anyway, bye!
And just like that, our fair Kate was voted out, and she became the first member of our jury. Thank you so much for playing, Kate. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy being mayor of Ponderosa. And from now on, these people that get voted out, including Kate, their vote matters to who wins this entire thing. So, friendly reminder, if you have not already, smash the like button for me, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!